Alright, so this is my, probably in the future, every 4 months life update. And I'm gonna try to make this more of like a summary of my views on how I think on the world. I think this is mostly gonna be directed to myself in the future so I can look back on it. But, life as somebody who's stereotypically ugly can be extremely tough. I was born extremely, male appearing. As a baby, everyone would ask me, well, not ask me, my mother, they would ask my mother, why do you look so male? Why do you appear so male? And would, like, look at me as a toddler. But as a baby, they were like, oh, you have a beautiful baby boy. As a toddler, they would come up to me and ask if I was a boy. And, when I was about 4 or 5, and I was going to kindergarten, I was bullied a lot. I remember the first time that I was bullied, I stepped on a girl's foot and she bullied me for the rest of the year. And I never really had any friends. I don't remember having any friends. When I was about 7 to 8, I had a quote unquote friend that my mother's friend would try and link me up with. She went to McDonald's with me and I would play with the kid there, and I was always ignored. She always had other friends that she would talk to, and I would always play on my own. I never really had a friend that I could actually call a friend, and it's quite a pathetic part about me. I just kind of existed at home mostly. I didn't go out much, and the times I did go out, I was completely on my own. I never had a birthday, except when I was about 2 years old, and that was also the catalyst from my aunt never speaking to me again, and a lot of fights happening. I'd never had a birthday party since. I didn't have anyone go to my birthday parties ever, and I just always felt neglected. The point where it began to become apparent that I was ugly was, I would say, 9 or 10 years old. When I was in fights online, people would call me ugly, and they would make fun of my appearance. I also began hating how I looked. Mostly I would hate my fat, chubby face that I've never grown out of, even now. And I began hating my voice as well, because I had, a really bad voice, and I still believe I have one. But, as it went on, I began to realize that I am truly ugly, and I have experienced, discrimination ever since I was quite small for that. And it's always been, a key part of why I'm so depressed and why I hate myself, because I know I am subhuman levels of ugly, and people have told me that. And people will try and flatter you as an ugly woman. They will tell you, well, no, you're actually pretty, but the few times that people do call you pretty, they're either trying to get something out of you, or they don't believe it. They're trying to manipulate you into giving them something, presumably a relationship. Or they will just tell you that so you don't kill yourself. Or they will tell you that as a way to gaslight you. The rare times you are a subjective 5 or 6 to someone, you don't take that into account. As an ugly woman, you should never take someone's subjective opinion into account if the vast majority of people believe that you were disgustingly ugly. If you were told repeatedly throughout your life that you were ugly, subhuman, and you need to kill yourself, then I think there is quite a problem there with your appearance. I have been told, even by normal fags, their first insult towards me is how I look. I've been told that I look like a man. I've been told that I look disgusting. I've been told that I can't help my looks, which is by far the worst one. People who try to fake being nice, they tell you, oh, well, she can't help how she looks, We were just born that way, we can't help it. And, I think that's by far one of the worst ones to hear. It makes me really sad. Yeah, it's not just people on websites that I go on, but I do agree that stem cells aren't necessarily real, because if I wanted to, I could get into a relationship. I could easily get into one. But the thing is, I have a lot of things wrong with me that isn't just my ugliness. I am diagnosed with Asperger's autism, and it makes it extremely hard for me to do basic things, and I'm also very bad at communicating socially. I was always known as the quiet one who never spoke much. In the rare times I was in a quote unquote friend group as a child, I would not speak, and I was always called the shy one. Um, I was raised very spiritually, so people would always say that I was like a special miracle child, and I connected much better with adults because they would always give me time to speak, and it would help a lot. And they would also never take into account my ugliness like teenagers and children would. I still remember one time when I was walking in a shopping center and a girl came up to me, and then she pointed at her mother and asked, "Hey," she pointed at me and asked her mother, "Hey, why does she look like that?" And I was just in a casual outfit, but someone did really say that to me, and I was confused as to why a little girl would tell me that. But ever since then, I've been kind of upset by that. The only kind of glances I even get from anyone is old men who would probably rape me. So, yeah, even if I did end up having a romantic partner in life, they wouldn't be able to deal with me. Because, the main insult talking point about, female people who are celibate is, hey, why can't you just, like, get a boyfriend? I'm right here, I would date you. But then the problem comes that you'll be willing to date anyone. You wouldn't just take me because you love me. You'd be willing to date me because you can't date anyone. Accept me if I accepted your, invitation to date. And the worst thing is that I have a lot of issues. You have a lot of issues. That's not gonna end up working. It's never gonna end up working. There'll always be like some, issue in the relationship. There's gonna be fights. There's gonna be a lot of problems, especially because we'd be each other's first real life partner. And I guess I had been so desperate for a relationship when I was about 11 because people kept, being extremely rude to me about my appearance. I ended up being groomed by older men, and that wasn't really a good time in my life. I have never really recovered from that bit, and they didn't use me for my looks. One even straight up told me, I'd really like it if you stopped sending me selfies, and that's a big part of like why I'm so upset about the way that I look and why I have been. And another big issue is overall just who I am as a person. I don't have any cool interests. I'm subhuman. I'm not interesting. I'm not, in any way, I'm not a cool person. I've never been a decent person to talk to. If I'm in a conversation, I'm not adding to that conversation. I'm just somebody who's kind of there. In the one online friend group I was in, I was always like the afterthought of the friend group. I was never anybody important in that friend group. If I left, nobody would really mind. And even now, if I killed myself, nobody would care. I have an overwhelming urge to end up just doing it. And I know that that's the one time that I will end up mattering to anybody because I can live stream it and people will post it everywhere. And, I'll at least be somebody who matters in that sense. But besides that, no, there's not really anything I could say I add to. It's not fun being a shell, nobody who's important. Anyways, that's